Hi, welcome to Surviving Motherhood. So I'm going to do this again. Last week I made a statement that seemed a little bit, should we say sacrilegious, until you investigated it further. And I have another one of those statements I want to make this week and discuss with you. And hopefully it will open your eyes to something you've maybe never realized before. And this statement actually is one that my husband made to me before he was my husband. We were in college, and he was reading this book, and he says to me one day, "Karen, did you realize that salvation is not God's greatest desire for you?" I'm like, "Excuse me? Are you telling me God doesn't want me to be saved? What are you talking about?" And he said, No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying salvation is not God's greatest desire for you. And then he went on to explain what really the author of this book that he was reading meant. And I began to understand. And I could say that I agreed with him. Now, I don't have that book. I don't even know what the book was, but, well, I have a better book. I've got my Bible here. And I want to read a few passages for you, actually several passages, that examine God's greatest desire for us. First one, well, you know the story. Adam and Eve. God created Adam. He put him in the garden. He said, "Be fruitful and multiply," and all that, but just don't eat of that one tree. You know that story. Well, Adam did. And then there comes this part where we see a picture, I think, of what really God desired. Comes from Genesis chapter 3, beginning in verse 8. I can't even see these, I forgot. Okay, age is a beautiful thing, isn't it? "Then the man and his wife heard the sound of the Lord God as he was walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and they hid from the Lord God among the trees in the garden. But the Lord called to the man, 'Where are you?' He answered, 'I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid.'" And that right there gives us the picture. God is walking in the garden while Adam and Eve are there just, doing whatever they're doing. Like, this is a normal thing for God to walk among them. It was a normal thing for him to say, "Hey, Adam, where are you? What's going on? What's up? What you doing today?" It was normal for God to dwell with them and walk among them and have life with them, relate with them. But then, Adam and Eve ate from the tree they weren't supposed to eat from, and then, dang, I can't see without these glasses on. Then God made garments of skin for Adam and his wife and clothed them. And the Lord God said, "The man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out of his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat and live forever." So the Lord God banished them from the Garden of Eden to work the ground from which he had been taken. After he drove the man out, he placed on the east side of the Garden of Eden cherubim and a flaming sword, flashing back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life. And that right there is the end of the way God wanted it to be. It's the end of his ultimate desire for us. And that begins the story of the gospel, really. As you go through the Bible, you'll find things like Leviticus 26:12, where God says, "I will walk among you and be your God, and you will be my people." And Jeremiah 7:23 and 24, which says, "I gave them this command, obey me, and I will be your God, and you will be my people. Walk in all the ways I command you, that it may go well with you." But they did not listen or pay attention. Instead, they followed the stubborn inclination of their hearts. They went backward and not forward. But here, God was expressing his desire that the people would walk with him, that he would be their God. In fact, in Zechariah 2, verses 10 and 11, we see it again. "Shout and be glad, O daughter of Zion, for I am coming, and I will live among you, declares the Lord. Many nations will be joined with the Lord in that day and will become my people. The thing is, it was God's desire in the beginning and then throughout history to have a relationship with his people. Looking way ahead, like way ahead that hasn't even happened yet. Have you read Revelation 21? Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Now the dwelling of God is with men, and he will live with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God." So, my friends, that statement, salvation is not God's ultimate goal for you, is true because really, salvation is just the beginning. God's ultimate goal for you, for me, for all of us, is that we would be in a relationship with him, that we would be his people and he would be our God. But sin ruined that. Sin broke that relationship. That's why God sent Jesus, so that our sin could be atoned for, so that we could be restored to that relationship with God. Salvation is not God's ultimate goal for us. It is a means to an end. His ultimate goal is that we would be in relationship with him. So I want to ask you today, are you in that relationship with him? Have you received the forgiveness that Jesus offers you through his death on the cross? God loved you so much that he was willing to do that. And I pray, whether you're walking with him now or not, that you'll take time to think about this today, and that your relationship with him, wherever it is, will take another step, that you'll draw closer to him. And I pray that you will have a wonderful, Jesus-full day, knowing he loves you